Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this Lime CRM webinar. I'm really glad to see that so many of you have joined today. Our theme today is Back to Basics, a session packed with practical tips and tricks to help you get the most out of Lime CRM. We'll also introduce how we at Lime can help you maximize long-term value through our concept Proactive Customer Development, PCD. My name is Magnus. I'm the head of product for Lime CRM, and I'm joined by my colleague Elin, one of our brilliant project managers. Here's today's agenda. I'll start with hands-on demos showing you, for example, how to make the most out of info tiles, different ways to visualize your work, how to quickly add new information, and more. After that, Elin will take you through how you can continue developing your Lime CRM with us, adding new components, new functionality, gaining fresh insights, receiving best practice guidance through our proactive customer development approach. But let's start with a very hands-on demo where I will show you how to make the most out of Lime CRM with some basic tips and tricks. We're going to start with info tiles, giving you a great overview and quick navigation. But before we get started, I want to give you the first tip of the day, which is that you can actually save Lime CRM as an application and install it on your computer. This is great because it makes it easier to access Lime CRM and provide the focus without the disturbance and noise of having different tabs and toolbars and whatnot in your browser. So how do you do that? Well, depending on browser, this is placed on different ways in your browser. But in Edge, as I'm using, you'll see that I have this small icon where I can install Lime CRM as an app. Simply press install, giving it a name, product demo in this case, and then hit install. Now, Lime CRM will open up in an own window without having the disturbance of different tabs, avoiding noise, easier to access. So super great tip for you today. But let's focus on Lime CRM and the start pages. Start pages is where you end up when you log in. They are the place where you usually start your work of your day. And depending on if you work with sales or customer service or whatever, you can choose to have different start pages showing you the right information. So if I work at customer service, I have a different layout and different start page compared to working in sales. But let's focus now on the sales start page. As you can see, we have a couple of info tiles in the top here. They are great at giving you the information you need directly, but they don't only give you a great overview, for example, showing you the number of prospects you have or quotes to follow up or number of deals you have in your pipeline. They are also a great way of quickly navigating to look at and work with the data behind the numbers. So in this case, if I want to see what the deals in my pipeline are, well, I simply press the info tile and it will take me to the Global Explorer where I see the deals with more detail directly in a table view, as you see right now. Of course, adding and changing and configuring info tiles is super easy. You do that if you're an administrator, and of course we can also help out, as Elin will talk about. But if you're an administrator, you can simply go to the administrators page, like this, head over to the start pages, and press the sales start page tab in this case, and you'll see that here we have a couple of components that are displayed, a number of info tiles, dashboard for showing you the KPI, sales pipe, and whatnot. But let's say we want to add an info tile showing you the value of the number of hot deals we have ongoing. That's super easy. Simply press web components, add an info tile, giving it a size. You will always directly see how this will be visualized in Lime CRM, saying that I want to look at deals. I want to see my hot deals or the company's hot deals, and I want to sum the value of those deals. In this case, approximately 2 million kroners. There's a number of other configurations you can do, formatting it, giving it a bit better look and feel, changing labels and whatnot. But in this case, I'm pretty satisfied. So I'll simply press save. If we now head back to Lime CRM, you'll see that that info tile is directly visible. You don't need to refresh, it's just there. But let's say that we want to actually change the order. So we'll head back to the administrators page, pressing the small arrows to place it where I want it to be. I'm going to place it next to the last info tile, saving, and then going back to Lime CRM. You'll see that we have it in a great way. And now, of course, pressing that will take me directly to the hot deals. We see those in the table view. So this was short about info tiles, great for giving you an overview, great for quick navigation. Let's head over to the next demo of the day. Okay, that was info tiles. Now let's talk about different ways of visualizing your work. So time for the second demo. So let's head over to Lime CRM once again and check out my pipeline that I'm working with as a sales rep. So when we look at the data behind the numbers, the most common way is to visualize the data as a table. This is great because it gives you a good overview of a lot of information at the same time. But depending on what kind of work you're doing, you might have different visualizations of that work that is better suitable. So in Lime CRM and the web client, we now have the possibility to, for example, when handling your deals, showing the deals as a Kanban view instead. This is great because it gives you a better overview of the progress you're doing, making it possible to identify bottlenecks and see where we need to put our focus on. So in this case, we see that we have a couple of deals in customer contact. We see the value, we see the average value, we see how many we have in demand analysis and our steps in our sales process. And I can simply just click on one of the deals and open it up as in the side panel. And here's also a tip of the day that it's possible to actually make this part bigger. So if you want to, for example, see the activity feed, it's possible to just drag the window and then it shows on the screen as well. So switching between the table view and the Kanban view is super easy to do. Of course, it's very flexible, what your information you're seeing, how you should group it, what kind of lanes you have, how you should calculate the number and the sum of the data that you're presenting. That's completely configurable. And of course, the Kanban view works whether you're working with sales or customer service or somewhere else where there is a kind of process in your work. So if we go, for example, to tickets, I have the Kanban view here as well. But this is not all. We also have another way of visualizing your work, and that is by visualizing it as a map. So if I, for example, want to see where our customers are localized, what location they have, we have a map view instead. Pressing that will show me exactly where we have our customers. I can zoom in. I can also filter on what kind of, if I only want to see the ones that are active, prospects or whatnot, by simply just pressing these small buttons here. The map view is something we can make sure you get available. Something we can do, for example, in our proactive customer development process that Elin is going to talk about. So this was a quick overview of different ways of visualizing your work. Now let's head on to the next demo. Okay, let's talk about how to quickly add new information in Lime CRM. Having great information about your customer and what you've been doing in Lime CRM is essential for providing good customer care. And we made it super easy for you to add information that is relevant for your customer care. So let's head over to Lime CRM once again. So let's say I'm a sales rep and I've been in contact with a customer of mine and we have a new deal ongoing. So I'll simply head over to my customers. It was Vandelay Industries. And now I want to add that deal that we've been talking about. So heading over to the deals tab, showing all the deals that are connected to Vandelay. In this case, just my deals. Adding that new deal, open up a new window. And this was a big deal in this case. You can see it's automatically connected to the right company and me as a salesperson. Of course, here we want to connect this deal to who's responsible from the customer side. And it will automatically show the persons that we have connected to Vandelay Industries, the ones working there. But in this case, this was a new person that yet isn't in Lime CRM. And I don't have to go back and add that person separately. We can do that directly in this workflow by pressing Create Person. So in this case, it was Kalle, and I'm just going to give him some information here. His email address, and then his position. It was a sales manager, giving this a value. This was a big deal, 200,000. And then you see there are other fields that I can add, but I don't have the information about that yet. Now I simply press Create. What happens now is that Kalle is saved as a person. The deal is saved. We open up the deal automatically. And as you can see here, if I check Kalle, he is connected to Vandelay with the correct information that I added in the same workflow. Now, this is pretty straightforward, but let's talk about what information you see when adding a new object or a new card in Lime CRM. If we look at what information we had when we are creating a new deal, there are some information that when we create the deal isn't really necessary to add, such as when the quote is sent or expected order, because that's not something that I know about in that moment. So in order to make it even easier for you to add new information, it's possible to hide fields and information that isn't necessary to fill out at that point of time when you create it. That is super easy to do. You just head over to the administrators page, go to the deal card configuration, and here you can see on the different fields, you can see display when creating objects. So let's say I don't want to see the date fields. I don't want to see the currency. I don't want to see the weighted value. I don't want to see the probability. Simply saving that, going back to Lime CRM and check out how it looks. Now, in this case, it's a much more streamlined card with less information to fill out, which makes it even easier to quickly add information in Lime CRM. So that was a very short overview of how to work with adding new information more efficiently. Let's head over to the next demo of the day. Knowing what has been said and done and promised to the customer is kind of the heart in Lime CRM and also very essential in providing good customer care. And adding notes to the activity feed is one way of achieving that. So let's head over to Lime CRM once again for a short demo. So this is once again our customer Vandelay Industries. On the right side, you always have the activity feed available at your fingertip. Another tip that I have is that you can actually expand this to make it a bit more easy to read, depending on how big screen you have. But in the activity feed, we show everything that has been going on connected to where you are in the right context. So here we see tickets that has been created, documents that has been added, to-dos that have been added, and so on. This is always possible to filter using this button in the top right corner. So if I only want to see history notes, I can simply press that and it will only show me history note that has been added to the company Vandelay Industries. Or if I want to see person that has been added, I can do that as well, or go back to showing everything instead. But let's focus on our ongoing big deal that we have with the customer Vandalay Industries. And in this case, pressing that will take me to the deal instead. And of course, the activity field will only show activities that are related to that deal. So here I see that I've added a to-do for following up my quotation. I've added a salesperson, Kalle. I've added a quotation. And let's take a look at the quotation to see how that looks. Because of course, in this case, I've sent a quotation for them. A great offer. I can see exactly what has been promised in the quotation. And now I've had a sales call with this customer. And adding a sales call in this case is very, very simple. You always have the possibility to add a note directly in the activity feed. And we've added the possibility here to make the notes stand out a bit more by rich formatting. So now I've prepared as a TV chef. I have my summary of the sales call. It's very neatly formatted with different bullets and whatnot. And simply pressing the little icon here, I can add a sales call just like that. So, and this makes it possible to keep track of what we've said, what we promised, and as I said, essential for providing good customer care and taking the process further in whatever you work with. So that was a very short demo of the activity feed, what it is about, and how you easily add notes to the activity feed. Let's move on with the next demo. Okay, next demo, following up your task using to-dos. So as important it is to actually note what has been said and promised, of course, it's also very important to keep track of what things you have to do in relation to your customers. And we made it super easy to do so in Lime CRM, and I'm going to show you how. So let's head back to the start page. In the start page, we have our active to-dos as a widget where it's easy to access your to-dos. So in this case, I have a follow-up on the quote that I sent to Kalle and Vandalay Industries in the big deal. I can see that it's overdue date because it's a small red dot, knowing what to prioritize. So I simply press that one, and when I do so, it will show me the history notes of what has happened in relation to the customer previously. So I can easily understand what has happened, what we promised without going somewhere else. I see directly in the same view. In this case, this was a follow-up on the quote I sent. And of course, the outcome of that to-do is something that we want to add in Lime CRM. So we can easily do that by going to the activity feed shown on the to-do. And in this case, I've prepared once again as a TV chef. We see that we followed up on the quotation sent earlier and that there is a next step that we want to follow up on the internal meeting that the customer had with regard to this project. So now I'm just saving this as a sales call once again, and then saying that this task is something that I've done. So I press mark as done. And of course, as a sales rep, there should always be a next step. So when I check off my to-do, I can easily create another one. So in this case, follow up on the internal meeting. And this was on the 10th of October at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And of course, connected to the right person, the right company, the right deal, and then simply create. So by doing so, I've easily checked off my to-do that I had, created a note in the history in the activity feed, and added a new follow-up to-do in the step forward in the process. There's additional things you can do here, like postponing a to-do if for some reason it has changed. Easily do that by pressing the button, saying that it should be done 5 days later. And here, a small tip of the day also is that you can easily access the person's email address or mobile phone number without having to go to that person. You can simply find it directly in the relation of the person on the to-do. Super easy. and will help you minimizing clicks in Lime CRM. So that was a short demo of how to handle your to-dos. Of course, now that I've checked off my to-do, the other one that I added is the one I have in my task list on the start page. So let's head over to the last demo of the day. With Lime CRM, we made it super easy to actually add history notes from a phone when you're on the run. But before we show you how to do that, I want to show you how to add and install Lime CRM as an application on your phone. So similar to what we did on our computer, in our browser, we can also install Lime CRM as an application directly to the home screen using your phone. Now, this is an example of how to do it on iPhone. It works similar on Android, but let's go through the process of how to do so. So what you do is that you simply open up Lime CRM in Safari. You then press the small buttons in the bottom right, press share, press add to home screen, give it a name, and what will happen is that it's added to the home screen, and you can open up Lime CRM easily accessible without opening up your browser, and it will give you then more of a full screen application experience. So easier to access, easier to focus, visualizing more information on your phone in a very simple way. So that was the prerequisite in what you need to do before actually adding history notes using the dictation functions on your phone. But let's take a look at how to do that. And I'll introduce you to my colleague Lucas.
Hello everyone, my name is Lucas and I work as an account manager here at Lime. Today, I'm going to show you how you can easily dictate or talk your history notes into your Lime CRM on your iPhone. The first thing we need to make sure before you do that is that you have your dictation function enabled. And how do you do that? First, you head into your settings application and you click General. Then you have to scroll down until you find Keyboard. You press Keyboard and then you have to scroll down again until you find Enable Dictation. Here, you make sure that you enable it, and that's it. Now you're all set to dictate your history notes on Lime CRM. So from here, I head into my Lime CRM. I pick the correct company that I just had a meeting with, and I go into Logging History Note. Here I can say, just had a great meeting, we'll follow up next week. And then I hit Save. And that's it. Now you know how to dictate your history notes on your iPhone. Have a great day.
Okay, that was the last demo of the day. Now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Elin, who's going to talk about proactive customer development. Hope you enjoyed all the tips and tricks, and talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Magnus. I hope that everybody here has gotten really inspired by all the tips and tricks that you have been shown today. Everything that you've seen is either something you can set up on your own or a Lime administrator can set up for you. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Lime, and we'll put you in contact with one of our fantastic product managers that can help you along the way. I will now head over to talk about my topic, which is proactive customer development. What is proactive customer development? Well, it is our way of working with governance. So how we, together with you, can collaborate and work to get on your Lime solution, on your organization, to make sure that you get the best of the best. It's a continuous collaboration between us, so it's something we do over time. And well, what's included then in proactive customer development agreements? These are the main parts, but there are, of course, some nice more features as well. You get consultants that know you and your business. They work together with you to develop your Lime solution and also develop your organization. You get time available with these consultants every week. You get insights in how you can get the most out of Lime and also best practice from your industry. You get a structured way of working together with us at Lime on updates, changes, improvements, additions, recommendation. Anything that we work together on in this practice customer development governance, we have a structured way of working. And all of our customers that have this today are really appreciating this structure because we make sure that we follow up, that we keep track of everything, and that we have a plan for what to do and when. You get new features directly. So if your consultant see that a new feature is on its way and that can improve and help your solution, they will make sure you get it and can start using it right away. And you pay a fixed price every month, which makes it then easier to budget. For this, in this fixed price, there is a specific amount of time available for you every month. And we have different sizes of packages depending on your needs. So we will also have a package that is based on what you need. There are some more things included, especially if you go for one of our bigger packages. And I will get to the end on what to do if you want to know. Okay, but why am I talking about this? I am, of course, biased. I love to have a long-term relationship with my customers, to see them grow, to help them change if they need to change a process, and to just make sure that they get the most out of their CRM system as possible. Giving them time over to focus on what a system can help you with. For example, building the relationship with the customer or taking that extra meeting or just doing things that create value. So yeah, I am biased, but we're also talking about this because in our latest NPS study, we could see that the customers that have Lime CRM and also have a proactive customer development agreement with us, they are 3 times more happy than just the Lime CRM customers. 3 times more happy. They are super satisfied that they have the availability, that they have the competence from experts from our side, they have someone to collaborate with, they get what they need in their solution, and they can continue to develop going forward, change processes if they need to, etc., etc. So we really see that our proactive customer developer customers, tongue trick that to say, they are happy. They're way more happy because they also use their Lime CRM more than other customers. They get value from their CRM system because you continuously make sure that it brings value. And of course, here I can stand and say that, but how about just hearing from some of our customers and what they say? So we did some customer interviews just before the summer with our proactive customer development customers, and this is what 3 of them said. We have Ambisumex, and they said, we appreciate having a dedicated consultant. Our consultant has gotten to know our organization, and that makes us feel confident in their recommendation, follow-up, and organization of the work. Then we have West Sweden's Chamber of Commerce, and they said it works very well to know that there is always time available. It's a security to know that there is a consultant to talk to. We're very happy with this stable arrangement. And last but not least, we have Svenska kyrkans arbetsgivarorganisation, and they said this. Nothing ever falls between the chairs or gets dropped. And we all know, that happens, but apparently not anymore. So this is just a brief summary of what proactive customer development is. If you want to know more, please reach out to your contact person here at Lime, and they can tell you all the details about this. You can also contact me. I'm available. Or you can fill out the form that you'll get in an email after this webinar when we send out the recording to you. I will also contact a few of you just to follow up and get some feedback on this information and see what you thought about it. Please answer my call. With that, the only thing left for me to say is that I wish you a really great Thursday. And me and my miss will stay a little bit longer in the chat just to wrap up if you have any last questions. Bye.